Hi cats and kittens, it's Amy from Savor Salvage Scent. I hope this finds you doing really well. We're a month out from the holidays and just thought I would talk about my Serge Lutens collection, specific to my perfume collection. Part of the reason I thought I would talk about it is I was just thinking the other day, I just don't feel like the house gets enough love. Say hi to Paris. This is one of my BFFs right here. Paris, show them your good side. Oh my goodness. Serge Lutens, love this house. I feel like it doesn't get as much attention as it deserves. And I think part of that is, I just get the feeling they're not bombarding content creators with product for free. That's my guess, and I love them for it, frankly. Also, the reason I wanted to talk about this house today is as we gear up for gift giving season, you might all know that I can be very frugal. However, I think there are a few houses that are really worth investment. I think this house is incredible. Serge Lutens and Christopher Sheldrake is usually the nose that he works with. They just make true masterpieces, in my opinion. And no matter what kind of scent, whether it's earthy or gourmand or woody or clean, bright, freshy scents, they are just very unique, really different, really interesting, not your average. I will say a little bit about cost. Some of the scents you can find on discounter websites or reseller sites, and I think are very reasonable. You know, some are under $60, for instance. If you buy directly from the house, and especially if they're in what they call their bell jars, so these, as opposed to, let's say, something like these, those are much more expensive. I'm gonna talk through, I think I have 11 or 12 in my collection. I'm gonna talk through a few dupes that I have because I can't afford, or there are a couple scents that are very hard to find. And then I'm gonna talk through a few of the scents that did not work for me and a few, or a dozen probably, on my wish list. Let's just, for a minute, talk a little bit about the creator. Serge Lutens, if you want to learn a little bit more about him, I have another video when I'm starting just to get to know the house, but did a little more research. He, I believe, lives in Morocco, and he's a traveler, or has been, and I feel like that really comes through the scents or the compositions. Really interesting stuff, not just the typical again. I also want to say a bit about just his aesthetic and design. If you ever get a chance to go to one of the boutiques, I went to one in Paris, and I'll put a few pictures below. I already feel like his scents had a world traveler, but also a gothic feel. There's some darkness running through, even some of the lighter, freshy scents. There's just this crack of the whip or something different. And going to the shop really reinforced that for me. You can see in the shops his aesthetic being influenced by, I would say, African design and Arabic design. You can also see this total Gothic influence. So for instance, again, I'll put some pictures below. You go in and there are these shapes that are very African, or I even think informed by Islam and some of the design. But you also see it's drenched. These little boutiques are black and dark purple, almost like an eggplant color. And it somehow works. I mean, there are hints of white and light too, but mostly black and purple. Just gorgeous. And what I love is kind of the high-low feel. And what I mean by that is the scents are truly works of art and beautiful. I think so much about the presentation is just gorgeous. However, one of the things that I really appreciate as compared to some other French perfume boutiques I've been in, the people that helped me were so incredibly nice, unpretentious, honestly let me smell anything and everything I wanted to smell and encouraged it. And then when I purchased my first bell jar here, she sent me home with like 10 samples. They were just so nice and encouraging. So that has a really nice feel, and I highly recommend if you ever get a chance to go. Can't wait to go back. Another thing I'll say, Serge Lutens, I believe, one of his first jobs was he did makeup campaigns, and I think it was for Dior. I remember the images perfectly, but I'm not sure about the house. But anyways, I'm gonna, again, attach some photographs, and there are some of the most, again, out of the box, beautiful. And I think this was during like the late 70s through the 90s. And he used non-traditional colors and combinations that I feel like, with the exception of maybe Biba, you just really haven't seen since, honestly. Or they've just started to come back in the scene. So really interesting, beautiful. Again, some of them have a gothic look about them, but some are just very, I would say, super creative. Definitely worth checking out. So I think, of course, all of this stuff informed the perfume making. So, all right, I'm gonna dive into the scents that I own, quickly describe them. I'm not gonna go through every note, when they're made, all of that. Too many things here. So I'm kind of going in order of how much I've used them. This isn't an exact science. My favorite vanilla in the world is Un Bois Vanille. It is heaven to me. It is the most sensual vanilla, a soft powdery licorice, coconut, maybe a hint of almond, but it's sweet, but it is really deep and sensual too. It is just so beautiful. I crave this. This is my second bottle, and this is one of the few bottles in my collection I have a backup of too, because I just don't ever want to risk being without it. So Un Bois Vanille, my favorite vanilla. Next, I think, as far as what I purchased next was Arabie. Now, when I was first learning about perfume in a major way, I mean, I've worn perfume since I was young, but when I started to really get into perfume, maybe 15, 20 years ago, you know, the perfume community was not as big as it is now. And of course, there wasn't YouTube at the time, or it was just starting. This house was talked about a lot then. Most people talked, when they were talking about an amber, about Ambre Sultan. I ended up not purchasing that because I felt like these had some similarities, and this is the amber for me. So Arabie, I think, is the perfect name. The reason I say that is this is what I imagine you would smell at a Moroccan or African market. It is, to me, a cornucopia scent. So it's not just mixed fruits and spices and the things that you would smell at a market, but it's dried fruit. Like, you get a lot of date, almost a raisiny smell in this. You also get a little funk. And I continue to say that whether you're perhaps in a market internationally, or if you're at a local market here, you're not just gonna smell peaches and cream, you're sometimes gonna smell animalic smells, a little rot. This is an unpretentious amber with a little funk running through it, and I absolutely love it. And especially if you like the scent of date, you will probably love this. So this is Arabie. Oh, next. Crazy about this, as you can tell by this dent in this bottle, and look at the color of this juice. This is La Couche du Diable. I believe this translates the devil's couch, or the devil's, some people say like the devil's diaper or something. What's devilish about it? Patchouli is not a note in this, but I get a lot of oud and wood. I get spices and amber, and I swear, oh, I get this dryness that I usually get with patchouli, although maybe it's the oud too. This is absolutely gorgeous. When I bought this bottle, a friend, you know who you are, was over, and he was like, I cannot believe this is out of commission. He ended up decanting some because he absolutely loved it too, but it is a stunner, woody, spicy scent. Sadly, I think this is either discontinued or only comes in the bell jars now, but this is La Couche du Diable. Next, I have to talk about my one and only bell jar. This is Jeux de Peau. When I finally went to the shop in Paris, I smelled probably 12 scents while I was there. And honestly, this was neck to neck with a few others. But the reason I went with this is I just think it's so incredibly unique. It was one of the first perfumes I ever read about that supposedly focused on the scent of bread. And Jeux de Peau means, I think, skin games. It has this bready, almondy, wheat-y feel but I think it's supposed to give off like a musky feel too, kind of like warm skin. I get mostly wheats. It's sweet, but not incredibly sweet like a few of the bread-based or bread-focused scents that have been released recently. This is one of the first of its style. I think there are still few like it. And it is, this also, I meant to say, has licorice running through it. So it's one of my favorite notes. I absolutely love this. It's like a warm hug, and you have a little bit of bakery in the background. It's so beautiful. Next is a sample, and it's a big sample, so I'm counting it. This is from my friend Lynn, who turned me on to a few of my favorite Serge scents. This is Sarrasins. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. I don't know if you can see, I'm almost at the end of this, and it is the darkest purple you can imagine. This thing, oh my gosh. So here's an example of when this creator does florals, they are not your basic floral. This is mostly, what I get from it is mostly just jasmine and carnation. However, this is one of the strongest scents I've ever experienced, and it's absolutely addictive to me and puts me in a trance. It is narcotic. That's the word I would use for it. It is, I would follow somebody around wearing this. It's absolutely gorgeous. I hope to buy it someday. Sadly, it's only in the bell jar, so it's expensive. We'll see. I have many others to keep me entertained, so I have no right to want it. However, I have loved every ounce of this Sarrasins. Next is Datura Noir, one of my first by the house. This is what I would call a gothic floral. It smells, if you've never experienced Datura, some people call it, I think it's devil's trumpet, or it's a type of moonflower. I'll put pictures of it. I used to grow it, and it blooms at night. Georgia O'Keeffe would paint it. I'll also put an example of that. What I get in this is, I don't think Datura can be extracted. I think what gives it the scent close to Datura is, I think it's tuberose. But again, it has just got this absolute sexiness. A little bit of powder too. I don't know, if 5 other people made a tuberose powder focused scent, it wouldn't be this complex. So I can't tell you why I think it's different exactly. It's just so heady and gorgeous and timeless. Anyway, next I will talk about, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, La Religieuse. I believe it basically means a nun or a female holy person. This is so gorgeous. This is also very floral dominant. I wrote down what I get the most of is I get mixed flowers, musk and incense, but strangely what I first smell, it's much more green than some of his other florals to me, and it's got this coldness. And I believe I read a story that it was somewhat inspired about, was it his own experience in an orphanage and a nun walking through the snow there? Something like that. And it does have a cold feel, feels very feminine, but I would say feminine and kind of strict. That's what I get. Next is Nuit de Cellophane. This one I have not worn enough. For no good reason. I have just not given enough time to. This is another one that's very floral dominant. I mostly just get mixed florals, a freshness, and maybe part of the freshness is you get a lot of orange in this. Florals, like a flower shop. Like you just walked in and got the cold cooler and all the flowers and the stems and a slice of orange. I need to wear this more. Nuit de Cellophane. Next is, I was just gonna say this is so good. They're all good. This is Les Participe Passe. God. Past participle, friends. What do you get from this past participle? Ooh, it's like everything dark and rich. You get resins, leather, patchouli, pepper definitely comes out. I don't always smell pepper when it's a note. I definitely get it here. And caramel. So honestly, when I first spray this, I'm like, this might be a bit too much or a bit too masculine for me. I don't really play by the gender game when it comes to scents, but I still think there are things that you want to wear and maybe you'd like to smell on other people more. But then when it dries down, the caramel comes out, and it is just such an interesting combination of dark, resinous, leathery things and gourmand. It is so beautiful. Just a few more in my collection. Next is Bapteme de Fou, which basically means like baptism of fire, by fire. I don't know what kind of analogy it might be. I get orange again. I get a lot of orange in this, and I love orange, so I'm good with that. I did not look up the notes for this. I mostly get, I swear I get patchouli in this. I get spices and orange. I need to wear this more and get to know it better. It's beautiful. It does have some similarities to some of the other spicy, kind of darker Lutens scents. Bapteme de Fou. And then this is perhaps one of the most popular scents by the house. And it might be, I want to say this is one of the first scents, and I think he produced it through Shiseido first. This is Feminite du Bois. So I think that means female or feminine wood. You definitely get this. I can smell some DNA running through both of this and Un Bois Vanille. There's no licorice in this as far as I know, but I get that powdery sweetness that's in Un Bois Vanille, but I also get wood and plum. A lot of like stone fruit, I would say, running through this. This is a softer scent compared to some of the others. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous. And probably, I think one of my most recent purchases, this is kind of from a newer line. A bunch from this line I would consider like freshies. This is called, oh boy, I hope I remember correctly because it's like most of them in French. De Clous, de le Pelure, something like that. I think it's basically like nails and skin, but I believe what they're referring to here is nails being cloves into the skin of an orange, so like a pomander. When asked about non-traditional holiday scents, I think this is the coolest thing. It smells like the combination of a pomander with a little bit of a mentholated feel. So I get like walking through the cold woods and pomander, but because of that fresh aspect, I also think this is freaking fabulous in the heat. I wore it this summer, loved it. So gorgeous. And this can be found really inexpensively, by the way. Really fabulous. So that's the last of my big bottles. Oh, actually, before I get to samples, I'm going to talk about two that I have dupes of, and here's why. This is a house where, honestly, I don't want to buy dupes. I want the originals. The artists are just such great creators. The problem is a few of them are incredibly hard to get, if not impossible in the US, and or they're going to be $400. So there are a couple that I had to break down and get dupes of. One is Sa Majeste la Rose, and this is a dupe made by Oil Perfumery. I believe this is only made in the bell jar now, and I want to say when I was there, it was gone, it was out. It wasn't even available to me, but I had a sample of it that was like 10 years old, and I just wanted to have it. This is the best rose scent I've ever smelled. To me, a spicy rose. It has some clove running through it. I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to imitate a bit of carnation. It's got that kind of feel, but rose, it is just perfection. I loved my sample, couldn't afford to replace it, so I have this to kind of get me by for a while. Another scent that wasn't available the last time I was there and is near impossible, if not impossible to find in the US, is Fille de, is it Aiguilles? I forget the name, but it's basically like a young woman walking through, I think, a forest or woods. This is a Dua brand dupe of that, or inspired by scent, and it's called A Forest Mystery. It's really cool. I've never even been able to get a sample of this, so I can't say how close it is. Oh, this to me is just the coolest. This also would be, it's phenomenal whenever, but as a holiday scent, I get pine, but I don't like get holiday tree only. I get like, you're deep in the forest and you get all of the stuff, the bark, and I get a little bit of a cinnamony feel, and I bet it is from, I think there are some tree barks that have aldehydes, so I get this like spicy kind of tickle your throatness, whatever. And then this earthy woodiness. To me, this is like a perfect forest scent. And then I'm going to talk through a few more samples. This is a sample of Tubereuse Criminelle, which was sent by my friend Lynn. Thank you so much. She also sent Iris Silver Mist, and I burned through it. That is probably the best iris scent I've ever smelled. I mean, this house is just amazing. I was thinking the other day, if I were starting to collect again, or if somebody asked me, hey, I'm very creative, artistic, I really want to find a house that represents many different kinds of perfume well. You know, years ago, my mind would have gone to Guerlain, and I still love that house. But I think this would be my first choice because it's as artistic and as important in my mind, but far more risk-taking. So this Tubereuse Criminelle, I really didn't get it the first time I smelled it. It's growing on me. This is an example of, I don't think you're ever gonna like every artist's piece of work. I don't love my own life and stuff all the time. This is a tuberose for grown-ups, and some of my friends who have the best taste in perfume absolutely adore this scent. I think it's really cool, but it's mostly, to me, tuberose, and it's super mentholated, like Vicks Vapor Rub to me. I think it's cool. It's growing on me. I'm still challenged by it, but I think that's exciting. This is à la nuit. I had to take a few notes on these because I just didn't know them well enough. What did I get mostly from this? Jasmine, honey, resin, and musk. This is one of all the scents of theirs that I've tried. He's got jasmine running through a lot of these scents, which I love jasmine, so great with that. But this is a musky scent. This is one of the muskiest I've smelled. It's fabulous. Absolutely love it. Need to get it to know it more. This is one of the samples that the shop gave me. Oh my gosh. Have always wanted to try Borneo 1834. You know, I've heard for years people are real split about it. It's got a smoky feel, and some people really read it as like barbecue, which I think is hilarious, and I can see kind of why. I get mostly like, it's to me one of the best chocolate patchouli spice scents. I'm not a huge fan of chocolate. This is so good. It's a crossover for me. I absolutely love this. This sample, honestly, might last me for years because this is not something you would wear, at least not me, all the time. It's really great, and it scratches that chocolate patchouli itch. Fabulous. Borneo 1834. Oh, this was interesting. I don't think I've ever heard anybody talk about this. This is Point du Jour. Now, point, P-O-I-N-T, to the French, I believe means many things. It can mean like a place, a location, a point, you know. I think it can also mean like a sewing, like a stitch or a knot. This is so different than any of the other scents that I've smelled of theirs. And what I get mostly is thyme, eucalyptus, and clary sage. It is the most herbal thing. And even though I think most people would consider this masculine, I love this. I would love to own it. It's so cool. I'm going to talk quickly about a few that didn't work for me. And again, this is just to fairly represent the house. I love this house, and just because they didn't work on me doesn't mean they're not fabulous. Fils de Joie, I found, it's one of the more expensive scents, I found at a tag sale for $12, and I absolutely thought it was gorgeous. It's a beautiful, very lily dominant scent. Holy mackerel, it was so strong to me. And lily is a tough one for me. It's strong in nature to me, or it's strong when I'm in a church. It tends to give me a headache. So nothing against the scent, it just didn't work for me, and I therefore resold it. Another that did not work for me, and this is a surprise probably, because orange flower is one of my favorite scents. Their Fleur d'Oranger, two of my favorite flowers, orange flower and their carnation, both did not work for me. The orange flower, it's because, I don't know if there's indols in orange, but it got so animalic to the point of, and I love an animalic scent. It smelled, frankly, it smelled pissy. And to be fair, again, I've had that experience with orange flower in the wild. And in fact, one time I was where Fragonard grows some of their flowers, and It was so indolic and so ripe. I could not believe it. And I wrote a friend of mine who's a nose, and they said, oh yeah, like it can be really ripe. And that's what I get from their Fleur d'Oranger scent. Now, conversely, the carnation scent, I could barely smell. I need to revisit it because it might be one of those where maybe I would pick it up now, but I just couldn't justify buying an expensive perfume that I could not pick up myself. What are my wants? I have Muscs Kublicon. That is one of the most animalic, phenomenal musks I've ever smelled. Thanks to my friend Lynn, sent me some. Oh, it's so good. Chergui, which is a absolutely beautiful, powdery, I think, genderless tobacco. It is so phenomenal. I've had a few samples of that and have used them all. Iris Silver Mist was perfection, if you like iris. There's a Lakoum scent, the Turkish candy/rose scent that is just unbelievable. There's an almond scent. Is it Douce Amère, something like that? That is gorgeous. I've never smelled 5 o'clock de Jambre, and I know it's easily accessible in the US, so I probably need to get my nose on that ginger scent. And then another scent that I smelled in the store that's only available in the bell jars is La Mer. Or La Mer, it would probably be pronounced in French. Their myrrh scent is phenomenal. So gorgeous, so beautiful. And there's a bunch I haven't even tried yet. While they don't always get talked about these days by some of the, let's say, hungry YouTubers, there are still, if you Google the name of the house, you will still find a lot of people making content. I just think they're not being sent free product and being blown up. You'll see people from all over the world, which I think is really cool. People who are into this house are deeply into this house. It's a love or hate kind of house. It either suits your personality or what you like, or it doesn't. And absolutely love it. Would love to hear from you. Do you love the house? Does it work for you or not? Do you have favorites? And tell me one that's on your wish list. All right, cheers. Have a great day. Talk soon. Bye.